Welcome to another episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast. I'm your host, Dana Lynn Kay, and I'm here in the studio today with two very special guests. I've got my mother, Mickey, who you guys know from prior episodes, and I've got my dad, Joey, and he's down from New York, New Jersey area where our family business is located. And this is going to be fun because I've spoken a lot about how devotion came about. I always talk about being third generation in the flavor industry and that I had access to, I'd say, the best flavor company there is in the world. I'm not being a little biased. I know it's true. It's true. And, look, I was able to create phenomenal products and flavor. So yeah. I always speak about how I learned I was led by example. You guys are entrepreneurs. You started a company when I was 12 years old, or maybe even 11, but it really,
I thought you were 10.
Yeah. 1990? Was it 1990? And so they started a company called Allen Flavors, and the company is now 32 years old.
Did you say where the name came from?
Yes, we spoke about that in the last episode. In case you are jumping in now and you did not listen to the last episode, my dad and I had a great conversation about my grandfather. My grandfather was a flavor salesman, and how my dad got into the flavor industry. So it really gave you a really good background of how we got into the flavor industry, because it's something that when I say flavor, people are like, what are you talking about? But really flavors are in everything. I mean, it's very rare that flavors are in everything. So first of all, why don't you guys talk about, how did you guys met? Because two people meeting in the industry to start your own flavor company. You both, you both brought something to the table to be able to create this incredible company. It took both of you really to make Allen Flavors the success that it is today.
Right, I'll say how we met.
So yeah, go on.
Okay. So, probably my second job in the food industry. I got a degree from University of Florida in food science, and my second major job was at Thomas J. Lipton in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. And I was in a division called Soups and Meals, where we developed the Lipton cup of soup, regular soup. And it was, I think my first week at Lipton, and Joey was a flavor salesman. And back then, the flavor salesman would call on the scientists to see if they needed samples of flavors to incorporate into their product development work, to hopefully buy them. So Joey called on me at Lipton and took me to lunch with a group of other people to Archer's Restaurant. And that's where we met. And he was known as Joey Allen.
Yep.
So later, we were someplace, and he told them that his name, he pulled out his credit card and said Joey Jacober. And I thought, what the heck? Who is this guy? But Allen was his business name.
Yeah. Yep.
So years later, when we got married, I had my maiden name, but I became known in the industry as Michelle Allen.
Right.
But legally, our name was Jacober.
Right. Exactly.
And then you went into the industry as well.
Yep.
And you were Dana Allen, and your brother was David Allen.
It was like our show. It was like our stage name. It was like a movie star when they take a...
And it still is.
Yeah.
And
it does make it easier to... People never ask you how do you spell it or pronounce it. It just...
It was an easier...
flows off the tongue.
Right.
Yeah.
So then when Joey and I decided to start our company, of course, Allen Flavors made all the sense in the world.
Yeah. So no-brainer.
That's how we got started.
Yeah. And already Allen was a name, so like people in the industry would recognize.
That's how Joe and I met.
Yeah.
And that was the connection to the industry.
And then, okay, so you guys were just, I really want to talk about how, because I always say, like, what you guys built, nothing was handed to you. Neither of you came from any crazy wealth. It wasn't like you were starting with, like your grandfather died and left you a few million to start a business. So it's like really what you built was the American dream. What you guys did was phenomenal. I say you guys, you built your empire of like this flavor company, I got to see it, which was so incredible. I mean, there were years though before I was already in junior high by the time Alan came around. So there were years that there was a lot of you guys working multiple jobs. I mean, you both got your real estate license. You both, Mom, you were finishing furniture in
Well,
the
I owned
garage.
I had a
There was a lot
construction
of years,
company.
construction company. It wasn't just like flavor. It wasn't like flavors, and then you came up with a company, and then boom, success. I mean, there were
but
years
we were
of,
always in the flavor
yes, oh, for sure.
business. Joey, you never did anything else. You always did
and
that.
I knew I had
Yeah.
one good size account that I was very tight with, and they told me that if I ever opened up my own, they would buy the flavor from me. So that's really how it started.
Yeah.
And when you know you have at least one account, and they were doing about 200,000, I figured if we really watch the budget and keep everything small, we can start a company and not have to work for people anymore. Because I had already put in like 17 years working for companies, and most of them wound up getting purchased by a bigger company. So it was very exciting at the time.
And I've asked that of you, Mom, before. I've said, was it so? Because I used to say, I've asked Mom, was it scary to be an entrepreneur, to start your own business, to go out on your own? You always worked for people. Was it scary to take a risk to open up your own company, or were you?
We were never scared. No, Joey. Once we decided we were going to do it, we had saved our own money. Our only debt was our mortgage. We didn't owe money of anything else, and we had saved our own money. And yeah, when we started, we got a building with 3 detached rooms on a hallway, so it was pretty reasonable. And yeah, we used 2 file cabinets and a door for our furniture. Just took things from home and started like that. And
we
and
looked
then we
for
just
a
built
location where I said to the gentleman, I have $500 a month to spend on rent.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
So what can you give me? He said, well, I have 3 offices, but they're not even together.
It was in a hallway where they were like separate
Joey,
rooms.
you remember
Each
I
one had
said
a
to you,
different key.
how can we have a company with our offices detached? You said, well, you work at Lipton and all the offices aren't connected. I thought, yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the location was good and the price was right, and we took it. And to think of where we are now,
to start from starting from 3 detached rooms is and I remember like the lab was on the far end, a little lab, and then there was a little packing room that was a tiny little shipping room
with little shelves.
right. And if we complete the projects that are on the shelf now, we'll have over 300,000 square feet.
Wow.
So
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yep. And you guys shared it out where it was like all the desks were just in one room.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like everybody had an office. It was you shared a room.
We have 240 employees now.
Yep.
Wait, we started with 1 employee.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in the office. We didn't start with her, but we got this woman named Carol Lee, and she did acting on the side. So when she would answer the phone, if it was somebody asked for accounts receivable or accounts payable, she would use one of her voices.
One of her accents.
Yeah, and she would just keep changing her voice
To act like another
like it was a
employee.
different department. Like a different person.
Fake it till you make it. That's what she was doing.
Oh, it was funny.
Yep. Yep.
So, but mainly Joey was on the road and I was in the office
Doing the office paperwork,
learning
and all
how to
that
be a
stuff.
secretary and
We used typewriters.
purchasing
'Cause I
agent
can
and you name
remember
it.
typing like labels on the typewriter.
Yep.
And oh my God, that was so frustrating because you make one mistake and it was like, oh no, I got to start over.
Yeah, and you
It
and your
was
brother were
such a-
filling samples and
such
The
a different
the only
time.
part that was nervous is when you're in the flavoring business, you're the key to the person's business.
Yeah.
And if you don't show up on time and don't do it right, you've really ruined it for a lot of people. So, I had to make sure that everything was done correctly. And I used a lot of outside flavor companies that I knew to make product for us. And then I made sure to get the sample in the mail by the end of the day or hand deliver it the next day. And
see, you had a lot of contacts.
Oh, yeah.
You were the one who knew all that, and I
Right.
was the one who did the running of the business.
Right.
Right.
You
Oh yeah.
The-
No, it takes it's a good, you guys
partners
were a great
for
team.
business.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Right, Joe?
Right.
Yeah.
We were. I was a
definitely.
detailed person. I took care of all my stuff, and he was great with the sales and marketing.
And so,
Not that we really did too much marketing.
and then how far was it into launching your company that your biggest account came along? Because, I mean, it was an iced tea brand. It was a very big brand, but did you feel like you were just hustling until that happened, or just trying to grow and wondering like, okay, when is like...
Well, I always tell young entrepreneurs or anyone who wants to have their own business, don't count on the accounts that you think you're going to sell, because they're going to disappoint you in many ways. Some will go with you, but you never know what's around the corner. And it's these new accounts that come out as to where you really make it. And that was the case with us. There was a company that wanted to make iced tea in a big can, never done before. And they gave me the project and said, if you can do this, you'll always be our flavor supplier. So I took it back to the lab, to Harvey, our chemist. And every day I ran back and forth with samples. And I kind of knew that their whole business is depending on this. So I better do it right.
Yeah.
They were in the beer business. And
Joey, you remember the first flavor you and I developed.
Yeah, you guys did it.
There was no Harvey.
There was no Harvey yet.
We developed
the beginning
it.
was you
and
guys.
I have the lab book with all our notes and the formulas. I've everything.
Okay.
I have it.
Yeah, I remember because that was like you guys.
Yeah, we did it. It was just the two of us. And
You probably didn't have the money to bring on a Harvey yet.
We didn't bring on anybody. It was just us doing everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it grew.
So, but then when something like that, when you get a big account that takes off, growth is like scary, because it's like all of a sudden it's not scary. It's exciting and scary. I say scary because it's like, holy cow, like making the right decision.
Well, it has to be done correctly or you can go out of business.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, you have to, you have to know how to make good business decisions. You have to know when to buy a truck, when to lease the truck, when to add people, all those things so that you don't become overextended.
But we relied on all my contacts through the 17 years I had been doing it, because we didn't have our own plant. We didn't have our own chemists. We didn't have any of that. But I knew enough people to help me and do what we had to do.
See, and the other thing is we weren't scared going into this because we had saved money that we knew we could pay our expenses at home for a while.
Right.
And at the company, which they were minimal. But we were investing in ourselves. And Joey had proven, he'd been with other companies, that he knew what he was doing and he was a hard worker and he had contacts and all that, and I'm a very hard worker.
Yep.
And I know that I can be relied on.
Yeah.
So, as partners, we worked 7 days a week. We worked into the night. We knew that we could count on each other and we would do it and we'd do it right. And we did.
We kept every promise that we would deliver to the customer, a sample by a certain date, show him how he now goes from there to make it into a finished product. And we never dropped the ball. That was really what I would say was the most successful thing about getting the company off the ground, is we were dedicated and we never dropped the ball.
Yeah, that's huge.
No, even in the beginning, for our biggest customer, we flew tea in. Where was it from, Joey? Remember when we flew drums of tea in?
Yeah, well, tea comes from all over the world. There's no tea made in the United States. It's all India. It's all...
But we had it flown in, which was a big expense to us.
Oh, yeah. No,
just to make sure our customer...
You didn't let anybody down.
No, we didn't let them down.
Yeah, no, we spent a lot of money before we started taking in any money.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is in a lot of businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you guys have...
It's so funny. I used to take the orders, and in my head, I would say, okay, that'll pay the electric bill. Okay, that'll pay the phone bill. Like I had this tally for the month.
Yeah.
To make sure we were going to pay everything.
Oh, my gosh.
It was exciting. It was fun building the company.
Yeah.
You were home taking care of your brother.
Yep. Yep.
And you were assuring me that everything's okay. I'd get home and you had taken care of making the school lunches, putting him to bed.
Yeah. I can remember that. I can remember being, because I was like...
Dane, you were 10 when we started.
Yeah, 10. 11, 12, like those years, those early years, and you guys were just like working crazy hours
Yep.
all the
Be
time.
10 o'clock at night, Joey would
And it
be
never bothered
on the
me.
road.
Like I
I'd be
knew
alone.
that you guys were working so hard, and because I got to go to the office and I'd go to the office, I'd help in the lab. I understood that you were working. It wasn't like I was like, upset that mom and dad weren't home. In fact, I was happy that I was like able to help at home. Like and I knew you'd be excited if you got home and the kitchen was clean or Dave was bathed and
you always
the
took care
lunches
of
were packed.
everything.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh mom, don't worry, the lunches are packed, and it's like
you even wrote the school note in the lunch bag.
in the lunch. Yeah,
You did everything.
I felt like it
folded
was
the
like that was
laundry,
my
did
way to
everything.
help, because it's like I wanted to help, but really, okay, well, I couldn't, do all the work stuff. But at, 10, 11, 12 years old, and Dave was a total, dumped Legos everywhere, made a mess in the basement. I'd clean up the basement. I'd help with everything. I mean, but I knew you guys were doing something important, and I knew your work from, in the last episode, we spoke about how flavors used to be in the garage. Dad was filling, so it's like, I understood, which is why, I've always thought it was important what I was doing with devotion that my kids have seen. Like, even if I wasn't physically being able at that age to do anything with Alan, it's like I was watching you guys do something really special. I saw the work ethic and the work that went into it and the passion and everything. I mean, you guys were really working hard on something, and I watched it like grow right before our eyes. I mean,
then it's interesting. Now your kids have seen the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've seen with
It's
devotion.
like a repeat.
Just the other day, Bodie said to me, we were in New York or something, and they're always ragging on me with, if I have to do if I'm doing stories or I'm filming and he said, Mom, we always give you a hard time with devotion, but we just want you to know we're really proud of you. Yeah. It was nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Make me cry.
I know. No, it was nice because, they'll give me a hard time, but I always wonder, like, are they watching me the way that I was watching you guys?
Well, I certainly wasn't on the phone making videos.
No, but it's a
I know
different.
what
Yeah,
you
the
mean.
world is so different
It's
now.
different,
I mean, there
and-
were no cell phones.
No.
I had,
No, Joey, you would go to the phone booths, and to look for leads, Joey would rip a page out of the yellow pages. So
Yeah.
when I did the laundry, he always had folded yellow pages in his pocket.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's
and it
funny.
was-
So he was looking for
like
leads.
I said, everything was not easy to do.
Yeah.
Like it is now
Oh, yeah,
when
you
it
had a
comes
beeper.
to. Yeah, it was just a totally different world.
You had to stop at a payphone.
Yeah.
To make
well,
a call.
right.
And you know what?
There was no internet to search for anything. Even
Right.
when we started our business and we needed boxes and labels and caps and all these different things, it's
Right.
like, where do you get them?
Right.
You
Right.
remember we used to go to Office Depot to buy
Well, Staples had just opened up.
Staples. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
I mean,
was
that's not
Yeah.
really where you should be getting wholesale.
Well, there was
because-
no internet. There was no Google.
no.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. Oh, and then we had to find truckers to go across the country,
Yeah.
like try to find them without a way to research it.
Yeah. And
It was hard.
every generation, like, and then for what I'm doing, I mean, you guys were, doing the manufacturing. For what I'm doing, it's like survival of the fittest with battling against, now it's a very saturated industry, and we've got social media, and you're fighting for social media ad space. You want your protein to come up ahead of somebody else on a Google search. Where, fighting for influencers and creators and who can offer them the whatever, because it's like a protein can be selling like crazy just because they've got all these top influencers saying it's the best, so everyone's buying it, but yet they're not even trying mine because it's survival. It's also it's a new world.
Because you only have your mother saying it's the
Because
best.
I mean, right? Yeah, but it's an interesting thing. It's there have been, with every generation, there's now like another thing to battle, like, because now there's
it's
it's a very saturated industry. Now you can go to a store and, if the devotion just sitting on a shelf against 50 other proteins, what's going to separate mine? Why is somebody going to pick mine over, it depends on how I'm marketing it, what it tastes like. Now, will they even give it a chance? It's, it's a beast, but yeah, we were talking about that on the last episode, where just being a salesman and even not having Google, like having maps, Dad had to use maps.
Oh, yeah.
To get it, because going to the dairies out in the boonies, it's like, where are you even going? And
or I would go to AAA and they would take out a map and draw on the map where I had to go.
Oh my
And
God.
most of the time, there weren't phone booths out in the countries in Pennsylvania. So I'd be going somewhere hoping that I was going in the right direction.
God, yeah, that was so difficult.
But
Yeah,
there was
that's
nobody
stressful.
to tell you were going in the right direction.
Oh, there was there was no navigation on.
Right. Cars didn't have navigation.
God, that is the best thing that was invented.
Oh yeah, navigation.
Yep.
And that just came out as I got
Yeah,
older, and I was like, thank God, because I would cry. I'd lost everywhere.
Yeah,
I used to get
that's
lost in New
made,
York
I-
by our house.
I-
that's
bad
made
sense of
doing
direction.
business a lot
Yeah.
easier.
Yes. Oh,
So-
for sure. Oh, for sure. So the expansion of your company. So it's like when we talked about starting with renting 3 little rooms, and now anyone who's watched my social media every now and then, I kind of show when I go up there. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of square feet of manufacturing. And do you, with the growth, to know when to grow? I mean, I guess is a lot of that dictated by how successful your customers are, and do you need to grow for them? How do you know when to, bring the people on? Because it's a really a very delicate dance in business to make sure you're making the right decisions. And for me, it's always been scary with like spending money, because it's like I'm so scared that it's like, oh God, I don't want to spend this money, and then
But even when you need to add
Sure.
personnel.
yeah.
I mean, the people who work, everybody knows that.
I mean, in the flavor business, every one of your customers is really like your partner,
Yeah.
because it's their success that makes your success. You can't, if they don't sell their product, then they're not going to reorder flavoring for no reason. So really, every client is like your partner, and you have to treat them that way if you want them to stick around. There's always other flavor companies looking to go after the business. So if you want to keep the account, you got to show up on a regular basis, and you got to make sure that you don't make mistakes. Because if you make mistakes, it costs everybody a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we've always only run one shift. We start early in the morning. We're done by like 3:00. And I'll never run a night shift, because the people on the night shift are going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And if they make a mistake, it all gets thrown back at the
Costs a
flavor
lot.
company.
Yeah.
So, we had to figure out how to do it all within one shift.
So what do you think made, because our company, Allen Flavors, is very unique. I mean, people love to work with our company. It's a family feel for sure.
Well, we started first of all, everything at the company is about quality.
Yep.
Right? Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
I mean, we make quality products. We start with quality personnel.
Yeah.
We're very particular about who we hire, and our environment is quality. I think we pay competitively or better.
Well, we started by finding a group of dedicated workers that were from Brazil and Portugal,
Yes.
and they had a tremendous work ethic, and they always showed up, and they didn't mind working. And there were times when I would bring in like American guys, and they would come in the morning and leave at lunchtime and never come back. So we
Yeah.
No, they didn't want to work.
No,
Yeah,
and
they-
we wouldn't want them, because it's like,
so
okay,
we
well,
really had a good pool to draw from.
yeah.
And in Newark, New Jersey, there was just
No, they would bring friends. They would
Yeah,
bring
tons
people
of-
from their church. And we had and still have with us is some of the same people.
Some of the same guys have been there
Yeah,
for like
and
20
they
years.
are quality people, and they're proud of the company.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I
they've
mean,
been there a long time, and we're
years
proud
ago,
of them.
if somebody liked their job, they almost never left. But now you've got so much pirating going on that you train somebody, and then somebody's going to be going after them, offering them more money.
Yeah.
So you got to really make the people happy so they don't want to go.
Yeah.
But Dane, you were asking about the company. It is a unique company. People
is.
love working at Allen Flavors. I mean, besides that, we've made the facilities gorgeous and comfortable, because I feel like people spend more time awake at work than they do in their own home.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like from my experience and Joey's, like how we were treated as young workers, we wanted to give our workers the experience that we wanted.
Right.
We wanted to, so we treat the people with respect.
Yep.
And yeah,
Everyone
in
is
the
so happy
beginning, as
working
the
there.
company grew, it was great. We were like a family. I mean, like I would bake for everybody and we would give them.
Oh, every company party was like at your house.
Oh, yeah.
And we always had big summer parties and Christmas parties.
But we knew everybody. We knew all their,
even to this
their
day, if somebody,
spouses, their kids.
if somebody wants to see me and I'm around, I see them. It's not like, you know.
There's no crazy protocol like in a big company.
No, there's not a lot of, what is it called? What do they say? Like a lot of red tape, or a lot of,
No,
it's not
we never
very
ran
like
it like
corporate.
that.
It's very family.
We were always open that, like Joey said, people could come talk to either one of us.
And it's not like if you're a customer to meet with the owner, it's not like you're like, oh, I'm not meeting. Like you love to sit in and and if somebody needs advice or, you know, whatever, it's like, you know, that's why on the last podcast, I even said to you, if you have advice for people who have an idea for a beverage, it's like a lot of times people just don't have the guidance, and to be able to take your experience seeing brands come and go and give them real good, solid advice, to get that from the owner of a company that's seen brands come and go is huge. I mean, you don't, a lot of how many times you get to really sit down with the owner of a huge company? Not often. They're not usually not even still
there aren't
around.
that many companies
That
the
function.
size of ours that are privately owned.
Right.
So yeah, you're not speaking to an owner. It's a public company.
Right. And the experience that you guys have through all these years of just seeing this, you know.
And we are very down to earth people.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about our family is everybody's down to earth and friendly, and you know, which I love. Yeah, so with let's see now, with where Allen Flavors is today, I mean the products now that we're making, gosh, and we've got so many great brands out there. I mean, what are the top kind of products that Allen is now producing? Like, what does the family mainly do?
Every year, there's usually a beverage that becomes trendy and popular. This past year, it's been hydration drinks. Everybody's out with a hydration drink. You wonder how there's...
Because they're dehydrated from the energy drinks.
Right. And then years before, it was the energy drinks.
Yep.
And before that, it was the iced teas, and then the flavored iced teas, and then the sodas, and the flavored sodas. It's flavoring.
Right, and how about the hard
and
beverages
all of a sudden now everybody's putting alcohol in there. Everything is hard. So it's, you know, it just grows. And every year they'll come up.
The iced coffee. And
every year they'll come up with another hot item, and once one company makes it, everybody runs after it. One success brings out another dozen companies that want to do it. But usually the one who's first is the one that really grows.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other Me Too's get a piece of the market, but the main guy remains.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is interesting. That I always say the world's a big place. I mean, there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, after there's so many beverages in a category and then somebody comes to us and wants to do that also, you wonder, like, what market share are they going to get? But even a little piece of a big pie is a lot.
That's what I used to say about doing a protein. I mean, although I did, you know, I wanted to separate myself from the pack by making my protein different and how it functioned and tasted and everything. But still, it's like, if right now, if somebody says, oh, I'm going to launch my own supplement, it's like, really? Like, oh, good luck. Like, there's already so many out there. It's like, good luck. But, you know, I think also to realize, like, look, not everyone is going to love you. You got to just find your people who love you and appreciate the product, and you know, you can't please everybody. I think I used to take it so personal if somebody didn't like my product, and then I realized, like, that's fine.
There's people who don't like your product.
I don't think so. But if they,
Right. I try not to discourage people, because you never know, being that taste is so subjective and products are so subjective. You can't categorically tell somebody whether something's going to be good or bad, or it's going to work or it's not going to work. So you really have to stay kind of neutral and guide them, but not tell them yes or no.
But Dad, you've had a good gauge. We've spoken about some brands that have done some things that Allen will develop the product, and then we'll taste it, and the brand is like, they're the final say. They say, okay, this is what I want.
That's true, because if they want it too sweet, like there's a product we know of now that has way too much sugar in it.
Yeah.
That's not our call. If that's what they want.
Right, just because we make it, it's like we're making what they want.
Yeah, we make them what they want.
The customer always gets the final say, because if you make something for a customer and they go by your taste buds, they're always going to blame you. You you didn't make it the right way. So you have to let them feel like they created it. And then if it doesn't do well,
Well, Joey, here's another thing too. Remember how beverages are regional?
right.
Like you always told me that the dairy tea in Pennsylvania is sweeter than
Yeah.
tea. And talk about that.
Tastes are different all over the country.
Mhm.
Lemon tea is very big up in New England, but not in the South. The South likes sweet tea.
Sweet tea, yeah.
Right.
And, they like sun-brewed sweet tea. Simple as can be. Every part of the country has different tastes. And you have to know where these people are going to market the product.
Just like some of the flavors that are more in the inner cities,
Yep.
Yeah,
like the tropical
grape,
flavors
strawberries.
have become so popular because there's a very large ethnic population that loves mango and loves papaya and loves all those type of fruits.
Yeah, inner cities love like the fruit punch and
they like a lot of
grape-aid
sugar.
and sugar,
And they don't care about diet.
right. And you just
But
make
that's what they want.
What they want. Exactly.
That's what they want.
You try to go against the grain, it's not going to
You
sell.
can't say that's not healthy or
Right.
too much sugar. That's what they want.
right.
You're there to make what the product they want because they're risking their money
Yep.
to put it out in the field.
It's funny, when I worked for Lipton on the soups, I always say, people would say, why do they put so much salt in them? Well, Lipton spent a lot of money doing a lot of testing.
Yeah.
And why do they put a lot of salt? Because people want a lot of salt.
right.
That's why there's salt.
Salt is also the cheapest ingredient in the world. It's like 6 cents a pound. So
Yeah.
there's always plenty of salt.
Yeah, but people wanted it. The
Yeah.
consumers,
they
the
wanted
salt
salt.
brings-
bulk of the
Salt-
consumers wanted it that
Yeah,
way.
salt is a flavor potentiator and it brings out the flavor and everything.
Yeah. No, and I've found whenever I mess with, remember when we started with Devotion, we had the stevia line and the sucralose line, and people thought that they wanted stevia because it sounded healthier.
Natural.
It was disgusting. One time you called me and you go, "Oh my God, I think my protein went bad. I took it on vacation. It was
that's
absolutely
right.
disgusting. I had to throw it out." And I was like, "Really? Like, I don't think it's gonna." And I said, "Mom, send me a picture of the package. Let me make sure it's whatever you send it. It's Devotion sweetened with stevia." I was like, "No, Mom, because it's stevia and it's disgusting, and we discontinued it." And you were like, "Well, I don't want it. I don't care with what." It's like, I'm not going to eat it. And the thing is like, it could be the healthiest thing, but if you're not going to eat it,
Yeah, what good is it?
what good is it? But meanwhile, it's like, okay, we put a little bit of sucralose. It tastes great, and everybody eats it, accomplishes their goals, loves it, gets their protein in. Okay. So is it better that it sits on your shelf and you won't even drink it? And I'm not going to sell something that I can't even stand behind. I used to not, like, we'd be at shows and we got samples and we'd have the stevia there and I'd be like, no, take this one. Like, I didn't even want to give it out.
Yeah.
And I'm putting my face on the brand. It's like, I'm not going to sell something that I don't even eat myself. So, I mean, yeah, you got to love it. But I mean, like I said, some products, Dad, but you do sometimes make the call where you'll be like, okay, they're going to buy it, but
Well,
it's too sweet.
I know we've made flavored waters that I think have hardly any flavor in them, but that's not our fault.
Oh, no.
I
it's
mean,
what
we
they
sell
just-
flavor. We'd like to sell more flavor. I never understand why a company comes out with a water that has like a hint
of flavor.
hardly
It's like
any
a hint,
flavor.
no sweetener. Then I'm like, what is the point? So I can kind of like taste
All right,
the
well,
little
that
raspberry
maybe-
in the distance. It's
I
like,
guess
who
some people
cares?
like it, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I do. I
I want
like
to
more
taste
flavor.
the flavor. I don't want to
right?
guess what it is.
Yeah, and then to not have any sweetness to really like,
Boost
right?
it.
Because the sweetness is what
It boosts
pops
it.
the flavor.
Yeah, the taste buds on your tongue is what
Yeah.
gives you the taste.
Yeah.
And there's many of them like sweetness. That's what they
Yeah.
like. So
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think products that if it really, really taste good. I mean, I know there are people who will choke down a good for you product, but I think the
Yeah, but
ones that have,
consistently.
they won't
No.
come back for it a second time.
right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, but and my whole thing with Devotion was that I just want people to love what they're eating and love what they're drinking. Now with Hydroflex, both of you guys now have Hydroflex in your drink and you
I
seem to be loving it,
Never drink water without it.
right?
I love it.
And and even for me being also a customer, it's like I tweak it until it's just right. Alan will send me stuff and I'll be like, well, it's almost good, but we need to tweak and tweak and tweak. And what makes Alan so special is that we create flavors from scratch. So if the flavor doesn't exist and it's something that I want, they'll create it for me. They'll even say, send me, right? Isn't there?
Well, you tell them
like
what profile you want.
the profile, and they'll create it. So our salted caramel cone, that's what we did. I mean, I kept, no, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I want.
You give them a target.
Right.
And then they'll make you a flavor of that.
And the cool thing is sometimes I remember when we did the flex flavor line, I would go to the grocery store. I would find something that I liked in like the strawberry that I liked because there's so many strawberries. That's what people don't even realize. It's like when you say like, oh, I just want it tastes like a strawberry. And
what
I remember,
kind of strawberry?
I remember when we had remember Kathy Ann, that flavor chemist that we had who had an accent, but we didn't know why because she was like from New Jersey. And she'd say, do you know what a strawberry tastes like? It could be like a wild strawberry. It could be a fresh strawberry. It could be a jammy
I hope
strawberry.
she doesn't listen to this podcast.
It's fine. I mean, no, but nothing I'm saying is true. I mean, it's the truth was that she was a flavorist and she would, I mean, I remember standing there being like, oh my God, you're right. Because I was trying to create the flex flavor line. And I'd say, okay, I want a strawberry flex flavor. And she'd be like, and then there's, there's a jammy strawberry and a candy strawberry and a sweet strawberry. There really are so many. If you have a flavor in mind and you say, okay, just make me a strawberry tea. It's like, that's a very broad thing
but people
to say.
Don't realize that.
Well, fruit flavors are all going to taste different when they're ripe, based on their ripeness.
Sure.
So you have a green strawberry when it's not ripe.
Yep.
Then you have a sweet strawberry when it's ripe. So,
And then the funny thing is with flavors, which I think this is a cool topic to talk about, like a cherry flavor. When you think, or like blueberry, when you take a fresh fruit, like a cherry, what we think of cherry, like the cherry flavor you would put in like a Smarties candies or a cherry that's in like a lollipop.
yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah, but we call it cherry. Like, how did that even happen? That a cherry, like we all think of a cherry, and we expect it to taste a certain way. Yet when you eat a fresh cherry, that's not what a cherry tastes like. But is it just that the flavor industry tells you it?
Joey, is that just an artificial cherry or?
Yeah, I mean, flavors started as artificial.
Right.
And an artificial flavor is whatever you want it to be. You've got thousands of chemicals you can use.
Yeah.
But then came the natural flavor trend.
Right.
The natural flavor, you have to use ingredients that come from the product.
Okay.
So if you're making a natural strawberry, everything in there has to come from a strawberry.
Really? So that's what a natural flavor is.
Right.
Okay. So people want to know that.
Right.
That's
and
good.
then so people know there's NNA, natural and artificial.
Yeah,
It's a
or there's
combination.
flavor one-ups, which is natural with other natural flavors.
Right.
So the bulk of the flavor has to be strawberry, but the other natural flavors can be other natural things.
So
notes
if
from-
it's a natural strawberry flavor, then you're limited to what the strawberry tasted like when you're using the flavor. Because like you said, if it's a fresh strawberry, it depends on the ripeness.
Yeah, natural flavors are going to vary. You're not going to be able to keep them the same all the time. Artificial flavors, you can make them be almost the same every time.
So is that risky for a product to use natural flavors if you want, like when people are ordering Devotion, they want consistency. They want their stuff to taste like what it tastes like every time. But if you're ordering a natural flavor, can you guarantee the consistency?
No, you can't, because the ingredients come from all over the world.
Yeah.
They taste different everywhere, and you can't.
Yeah.
But you can be within a range.
Okay.
And that's why they create what's called specs. As long as the specification is there and the product comes within it, it may always taste a little different.
Okay.
If it's natural. And everybody wants everything
But that variation,
to be natural.
most people could never pick up.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that
they
variation
have to do a
is gonna
side-by-side test and forget
and
it.
be really, really particular about it.
They're not comparing it to a control at that moment that they're tasting it.
Yeah. So one of the things that you said to me, Dad, a couple times, because Dad and I have been talking every morning since you've been down here, and you were talking about how something, being an entrepreneur, something that you were good at was finding some of these people, because a company, you guys can only go so far by yourselves, and then you have to start hiring, which is something.
The key words to be a good entrepreneur is you have to know how to delegate.
Yeah.
You can't do everything yourself, and you have to know how to identify good people, and then keep them with you and let them do their thing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of bosses or entrepreneurs think that they know everything and they get involved with every part of the business, and that's not the way to do it. You've got to delegate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Joey said, you have to hire quality people.
Yeah. Who know you're hiring
There's
them
no
for.
shortcuts. It's like look for the best.
Right. I've learned that with devotion.
And then treat them with respect.
Yeah.
Which we found easy to do.
Those are things that I've learned from you. Whenever people say, whenever I say I've learned from my parents or these are things, those are the type of business things that I really feel that, you know, as I've grown my devotion team, putting each person in place, you know, with Kelly and Dan, it's like they're really good people and they're really good at what they do and they're passionate about their job. And then as an entrepreneur, you then feel like you don't have to worry so much, because in the beginning, I remember, I mean, you would tell me all the time, let some of this go. Like you've got to hire other people to do some of the things.
You don't know. It's like Dan. Dan had a shipping background.
Right.
And shipping, it doesn't mean just throw it in a box, tape it shut and, you know, put a label on it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Dan does a lot.
Yep.
So, and he was experienced. So he brought a lot to your company in setting up your whole shipping department.
Right. I've learned now to let the go.
It's
Before
good
I
to
was
use
so scared.
experienced people that are qualified.
Yes. And as a entrepreneur, when it's your company, your baby, you feel like no one can do it like I can do it. I need to do everything. Like, but
no,
it's
what's
not the
good is
case.
to oversee it.
Right. Oh,
you know,
yeah,
don't ever turn a blind eye and just expect that you hired somebody and they'll just do everything the way you want it done.
Right.
I don't know. There are details. I think it's good to always
Of course. Oh, yeah.
oversee.
Yeah. No, I'm still involved in everything, but finally it is a relief having the right people in place. So when you said that, Dad, I was like, yeah, that is true. And it is a skill to recognize good people and then to also recognize somebody that isn't a good fit.
Well, that's another thing, is knowing to get rid of a bad apple immediately. Don't keep people on who really aren't good for your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know to
or just give you a bad feeling, or they're not
right
as passionate about what they're doing. If it's kind of like,
ooh, they keep making mistakes or letting you down,
not
whatever
paying
it is,
attention, not
that's
really
negative,
into it. Yeah.
it's good to cut it.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's true.
It's a hard thing to do, but you have to. Joey, weren't you telling Dana you never fired anybody?
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's because we had other people to do that.
Yeah.
I've never yelled at anybody either. That's not my style.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not big into.
We had a plant manager though who,
Had
when
no
he
problem.
determined somebody wasn't right for the group,
Yeah.
he just told them, "This
Yeah.
isn't for you," and he got the check from me, and out the door they went.
Yeah. You guys
He did
had,
not put up
had a
with-
lot of good guard dogs, like people who
Yep.
really loved you guys and
they
were
looked out for
passionate about
us.
the company, loved their jobs, respected the company. I mean, a lot of people who also got to be like Tony Parada and Ann Schwartz, people who were there for so many years that it was like their family. It
Oh,
was
they
their-
cared. They truly
cared
cared.
so much.
And as the owner, you know who cares. You know who just comes to work for a paycheck and who really, truly cares about the company.
Oh my God,
That's
finding
easy
the
to see.
details, not letting things slide.
Oh, they
I mean,
care.
and that really helps. I mean,
They
I have
look
that in
after your
Kelly.
money.
Kelly is like on everything, so many details, and I'm like, wow, she's picking up on stuff sometimes that I miss, and it's like to have another set of eyes, because as an entrepreneur and your company grows, I mean, there's so many moving parts every day.
There are so many areas that money can be wasted, and if you have people who care
Yes.
and they look out for that,
Oh, it's huge. Oh yeah.
just one little detail.
Oh yeah. No, that's really big. And now, so Dad, how many people on the sales team do we have now?
Well, there's sales and marketing. We have inside salespeople that, that make sure every sample goes out, but they don't actually go to see the client. Then we have about half a dozen direct people whose job is to go to the customer and sit with them and really learn who they are.
Okay. And then so to go after new business in a business like Allen, because you want to keep growing your business, do you have them bring like to show that we can improve their product, we can make their product better? And it's kind of like, so it's like we're just out there still battling, competing for the business.
Yeah, it's very competitive, and people do it to us all the time.
Yeah.
So,
But Joey, didn't you used to say that it's very hard to get somebody to change
yeah,
their supplier? They're afraid if their product is successful, even if you tell them that you could save them money, you can give them as good a product or better.
Right.
They're scared. They don't want to make a change. So that's a tough one.
If it's not broke, don't try to fix it. And that's the attitude of most business people. And they don't really know if it's broken or not because you never know how much you could have sold or didn't sell.
Right.
So it's
scary because they're running their business and they don't want to make a move. I remember years ago when we switched from plated to spray dry, thinking that our customers would like it, and everybody freaked out. The flavor. That's the flavor application in our protein. There's different ways. There's plated flavor and spray dry. Dad, you want to tell people what the difference is there?
Well, a plated flavor is where you take a liquid flavor and you topically apply it over a carrier like maltodextrin. So the flavoring is all on the outside, and it doesn't have as long a shelf life. When you spray dry, you make an emulsion and then you encapsulate it. When it's encapsulated, it has a much, much longer shelf life. So depending on where the flavor is going is whether you want to use a spray dry or you want to use a plated flavored. Plated flavors are less expensive.
Right.
Spray dries require larger runs. Not everybody has a spray dryer, so you have to farm it out to be done. A lot of towns do not let you have spray dryers where you're spraying the stuff into the atmosphere. So it's, every case is different.
Well, we started Devotion with just the plated because it was, we could do smaller runs. We didn't have to wait for the lead time and everything. It tasted great. It was fine. And so years then into Devotion, when we thought, okay, now we need let's make it spray dry. And the lab thought it was a great idea. We'd have longer shelf life. The flavor would be great. Blah, blah, blah. We had, I didn't remember that I approved spray dry and in the angel food cake. And I'll never forget, we ran it and we started getting customer service. Cause I remember getting the samples, I tasted it and I thought it tasted good. It didn't bother me, but we started to get complaints on customer service. And I thought that there was a major problem. I was like, oh my God, did it go bad? What happened? And people were so upset that we changed from spray dry, that we changed from plated to spray dry because it changed the flavor. It was very strong and it changed the fluffiness of the angel food cake. And I'm like, meanwhile, we improved it. I thought we were improving it. I thought everyone was going to love it. And I freaked out and I was like, don't ever do that again. We went back to plated and we had to give people refunds. People wanted to send it back. They were so unhappy, even though it was the same flavor. It was just the application was different. And that's the scary thing because it was I was rocking the boat there with my product. I was scared to lose customers. People were so upset. And so I went back and I was like, okay, don't mess with anything anymore. That was too upsetting for customers. It cost us a lot of money. And, that's why probably a lot of brands are scared to mess with what they have because it's if it's working and their people love it, it's a scary thing.
Certain types of flavor have to be spray dried, like the citruses.
Okay.
Because the oxidation will start to turn and spoil the flavor.
Okay.
Flavors like chocolate and vanilla that aren't citrus, you can plate them and they can taste just as good as spray dry.
Yeah. And we don't have an issue with shelf life because people eat the stuff up so quickly. So it never even gets people how long does Devotion tub last? And on our group, people be like, I don't know. It never lasts more than a month for me. So I don't even have a problem. What do you mean a year? 2 years? But the plate will still last. But yeah, people go through it and our inventory turns over quickly. If you're using Devotion, it's not sitting there. You're using it. So it's never a problem and the flavor tastes great and people love the fluffiness, like Angel Foods, that light powdery. So yeah, it's amazing. And Alan, through the years, they have taken liberties where they kept they've come up with ways to make our chocolate even better, right? Our brownie batter has come such a far way. Now we have a whole procedure. It takes a couple days to make it with a way to meld the chocolate and what they do with the flavor. And Joey,
isn't it true chocolate is a tough flavor?
Yeah, because you're limited to how much cocoa you can use.
Right.
Cocoa's expensive and it clumps. So chocolate is one of the harder flavors.
And we've nailed it. And the devotion is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my God. The new, it tastes like melted Hershey Kisses.
There
or
are
something.
different cocoa powders, though.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we use a
can
really
help,
expensive, amazing cocoa powder.
Well, you
and
use the best of everything.
the best of everything. I know.
All your
and that's,
products. That's why they taste so good.
I know. Which is like, okay. So, but yeah.
But you get
Alan's-
special pricing, so that's why
I
you can
know.
do it.
That's, yeah. Well,
You have an in.
I get, yeah.
Yeah,
the-
other companies couldn't afford it.
no, it's the perk of being an Allen. So,
Right.
So all of you consumers
Yeah,
actually
know
get
that
the
you're
benefit
getting
from
the
Dana's
family discount.
connection. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get the friends and family.
you get the friends of it. People ask for a discount for devotion. I'm like, we're already getting one.
You're getting one.
I'm already getting a discount. You're getting a
That's true.
discount. Because really, I think if we sold devotion for what it should really cost, it'd probably be about $90 a tub or something ridiculous. I mean, it's an expensive blend. It's really high quality and we're proud of it. But this is why I'm able to do what I do. Because of you guys and the fabulous company that you guys have.
Right. And the key to any product is not that they're going to buy it once, but they're going to come back and buy it again.
Yes. Which has been another reason why devotion, we have these recipes. I mean, the cookbook's coming out and people have learned to really use the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're always launching new recipes. The stuff is able to be used so many different ways. That one tub can do so many things.
That's why we can't wait for your cookbook.
I know. I can't wait for the
can't
cookbook
wait.
Yeah,
to
the
come
cookbook
out.
is great.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah. I think this week we're going to do some final edits and tweaks on it. And then we're going to do a big run and get this
Good.
book
I can't wait.
going. Well, thanks you guys for
Thank
being
you,
on the
Dana.
show.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and it's fun. I'm glad everybody got to hear a little background from two very successful entrepreneurs who just
Thank you.
had a dream and went for it. And I think that's amazing. That's what you got to do, right? I mean,
Just go for it.
just
Just
go
go.
for it. Just go for
Well,
it.
look, you don't think out every single detail of what's going to come up.
True.
You just figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
I think if we had thought too much about it, we may have been too scared. But
Yeah.
we didn't. We just
Yeah.
dove in, just said, let's do it.
And it's about
we were
decisions
excited
you make
and-
along the way, right? It's the decisions you make along the way.
Yeah, you just keep making good decisions.
Right. Good business decisions and
Yep.
consult. Did you guys have
And
anybody that you consulted with
be a
along the
hard
way on
worker.
business, or do you think it all came from you guys
No,
consulting
Joey, I
with
don't
each
think
other?
we did.
No, we
No.
didn't use any business consultants.
We just used our own common sense.
Right. Yeah.
Joey made the decisions with the ingredients, purchasing.
Yeah, 'cause, I
Every now and then we can.
I had about a million years of experience.
Yeah.
Watching my father for 30 years and being in the thing for 17 years. So that when I finally was ready to do it, I knew I was ready to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then
That's,
I
and
did
that's a confidence thing too. That's amazing. Yeah. That you've got what it takes.
a lot of the other stuff.
You're right. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
You were making a lot of important decisions. I mean, it's a whole.
we both just worked at it hard.
Yep. And then the whole manufacturing part was a lot to figure out. You guys were taking on things that neither of you had done. Manufacturing, I mean, that's a whole nother beast.
And again, you research it, you talk to the right people,
Yeah.
people who know what they're doing,
Right. Right.
and you figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, you fix it and move on.
Did you ever stress out much over mistakes? Or when or were there ever any mistakes that cost you a lot of money?
Things where our workers would mess up a batch and it cost a whole bunch of money because it was something that couldn't be fixed. Sometimes they can be adjusted,
Right.
but it couldn't be, and that cost us a lot of money. You know, it's
Some of the ingredients go in very small amounts. So you have to be very careful when you're measuring.
yeah,
Right.
but some of them are outrageously expensive too.
Right.
And if you
So
mess up the
concentrate-
batch, it's like what's already blended in. You're not picking out the
No,
ingredients.
some
so now
batches
you're-
can be corrected, but some can't
Right.
be salvaged. So
Oh yeah.
then you can't sell it.
No. Oh, we've had
So-
that with devotion where there was a mess up, and I'm like, well, I can't sell
Yeah,
this.
well, that's pretty traumatic.
It
But
is.
you get over it, and
right.
you have financial losses.
Of course. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well,
I've
thank
been
you,
there.
Dana.
Well,
Thank you.
guys.
This was great.
Yes,
Very
this is
nice.
a wonderful episode. And thanks everyone for joining in, and join in next time for another episode of Until It's Done, a Devoted podcast.